happening is fine. Uh,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friday Night COC Countdown. And I'm Wes Underwood coming to you live here in Web City. And Friday Night Lights are back, and we are here at the Sports Timeout podcast. And we've been waiting for this moment all summer. And so here it is, our first ever COC Friday Night Countdown. Before we get to tonight's game of the week, we want to give a little recap of last season. Then we will move on to the matchups and yeah, so we'll go ahead and talk predictions here tonight as well. So here we go. Last year, new COC was formed, Carl Junction left, and then six new teams joined the conference, four of which would play football, bringing the COC to a total of 12 teams for football. This forced the COC to split into the East and the West. And in the West, for football, you'd see Carthage, Webb City, Republic, Neosho, Joplin, and Willard. And over in the East, it would be Nixa, Ozark, with the newest additions of Lebanon, Waynesville, Kickapoo, and Glendale. Nixa would sail over the West bracket to a commanding 9-0 regular season, while Lebanon was the only newcomer to post a winning record in the COC. As for the West, the Carthage Tigers would win that division going 8-1. And now I'd like to go ahead and talk the East this season. Nixa football came up one game short of its ultimate goal last season, falling 35-20 to DeSmet in the Class 6 state championship. The Eagles finished the season with a 13-1, thank you, 13-1 record. And in an interview this offseason, Nixa head coach John Perry said he hopes that last year's loss proves to be a stepping stone to an even bigger 2025. And in an interview this offseason, Nixa head coach John Perry also said, I think sometimes you have to get there to experience it before you win it, Perry said. And one thing we understand is we do not control necessarily the scoreboard nor the outcome of the game. What we control is how we play or take away. So that being said, that was a 28-20 loss with a 140 to go in the ball game. And I mean, he also added that he thinks their kids played hard. He was really proud of them and didn't walk away disheartened. On that note, this year Nixa players will have to step up. They must replace a senior class that, man, just lost 14 all conference honorees last year, a group that lost one conference game in their 3 years. And don't let that fool you, though. As plenty of talent returns, I mean, it's ridiculous. The number one player in the country, Jackson Cantwell, the five-star offensive lineman committed to the University of Miami on May 13th. He was the COC East and SWMFCA Class 6 Offensive Player of the Year and Class 6 first team All-State. And he's got a big impact there, being looked at by a lot of teams already. Missouri State is the most notable. Next to him is the quarterback in McKnight, as he is the lone returning starter and skill player at that for Nixa. The Eagles graduated Dylan Riberg and his 2,785 yards along his 95% of the team's receiving yards. And it's going to be an interesting season. They've got a guy that can be a Division I quarterback, and it's going to be fun to watch. He will be joined by backfield in the backfield by a transfer running back in Jaden McCaster. McCasker transferred to Nixa from DeSmet this summer as a junior, and McCaster rushed for more than 1,500 yards, had more than 400 yards receiving. He had 13 carries for 200 yards. And I mean, this is just going to be a monster team to watch and see, and it's going to be fun to watch as well. So his coach said that he's really athletic. He's not the biggest of the quarterbacks, but he gets things done. They also have a big linebacker that's going to be one to watch as well. And it's just going to be a fun year for them. They will have Urban Arnold on defense at the defensive tackle, Cade Flood, Wyatt Isaacson, defensive end, Jamison Truitt on the defensive side on that line, and junior Max Griddle. The kicking game will also be strong with the return of Braden Cackme and Jonah Fields. Cackme scored 81 points kicking last season, and yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see. So if this team is still the number one in the COC, then they got a lot to do, but I believe they are the number one team in the COC. And next up, we'll talk Lebanon. They got off to a slow start last year in their first season in the COC, going 1-4 through 5 games, but the Yellow Jackets rebounded to rattle off 6 straight wins before falling to Hias Catholic in the district championship game. They finished 7-5 overall and the runner-up to Nixa in the COC East. 5 all-conference seniors graduated from that team, including the lead rusher, Jax Glennington, who earned a unanimous first-team all-conference and Class 5 first-team all-state honors as well. And they've been blessed, as what Coach said, to have so many outstanding players in the past, which left the legacy for that team. And now that they've got Braden Christensen coming back, he's going to look at a bigger role carrying the ball. He's the experienced line in his senior season after rushing for 393 yards and 5 touchdowns on 64 carries last season. They're looking for him to have an explosive year, and things are just going to look good for that offensive team. I mean, last year being able to put 6 straight in a row, that was awesome for them. 21 years at Lebanon, the coach said they've never had a kid improve from game 1 to game 12 more than he did last year. So excited for that. And then seniors Brody Shoemaker and Evan Ogle returned their senior seasons at wide receiver. Shoemaker led the team with 18 catches for 298 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ogle had 8 receptions for 174 yards. Quentin Hendricks started 2 games at the tight end position as well as a junior, and he returns. Rhett Rhodes will handle kicking and punting duties as well. So this team's looking good. They got a lot of returning pieces, and I mean, goodness, like Lebanon may have started off last year, but they ended well, and they plan to carry that momentum into this season. Then you have Waynesville. They have a new head coach in Dalton Hill this season. Hill played collegiately for Northwest Missouri State, started his coaching career as assistant at his alma mater, Mark Twain, before 2 years as head coach at Palmyra. And he saw a definite building block at Waynesville during his interview process. Waynesville has the bones to be successful, Hill said. And when he interviewed, he was really impressed with the tour. They have beautiful facilities and things like that. So being able to come in and do that, he's counting on commitment, accountability, and discipline and integrity. And those are just buzzwords in their program, but he loves it and he's excited for that. He also has Leland Wright and MJ Green. They'll be key wide receivers for them. Sawyer Baker and Seth Hawkane will be the offensive factors. And up front for Devontae Martin, Jackson Shaheen, Joe Maucha, Jayden Braun, and Kush Patino, as well as Tatavia Saea Telei on the offensive line. So that's going to be one big line. A lot of them are coming back, and they're sophomores and juniors. So that's going to be a line that can continue to build. And he's excited for that. And on the defensive side, he's excited in his linebacking core and his secondary. So they need that set. They need to set that foundation. At the end of the season, we need to look back and reflect, truly evaluate whether or not what players brought to the culture, and they were able to do that at Waynesville. And they're going to continue to look at that throughout this season. As for Ozark football improved from 2 wins to 4 wins in the second season under coach Jeremy Cordell. The Tigers returned 7 starters on offense, including their quarterback, and that would be offensive, 4 offensive linemen. Peyton Russell enters his 3rd season as the starting quarterback. Last season, Russell threw for 1,625 yards, 13 touchdowns, while rushing for another 288. And from the end of the season until now, through the season at hand, he said that he was looking at him really well and loved everything that was going on. So behind him and then a new defensive backfield, they're looking at getting things going there. Glendale, they were 3-8 last year, 1st season under head coach Frank Tristan. Entering year 2 this year, Tristan has made some adjustments on the style of play the Falcons will employ, and he's adjusted a little bit of his strategy. He said, we don't have a lot of offensive line and defensive line types of kids walking in the halls, but we have really good athletes, and we're going to adapt to that a little bit from last year, where we need to use all of the football field and gain advantage this year. So using the field on offense will be made easier. And with senior Cash Newberry returning at the quarterback position, he threw for over 2,500 yards last year and 23 touchdowns, while rushing 130 times for 433 yards. He's looking forward to having him back and being the playmaker in the backfield that they need. Over to Kickapoo, they went 4-6 in their 1st season as a member of the COC. The Chiefs learned a lot in that 1st season, and coach said you have to be on point every Friday night. Kickapoo coach Nate Thomas said there are great coaches and great players every single week, and it's a physical brand of football and a very fun conference to be a part of. We appreciate the work that was done to get us in, and for the COC admin and all of them allowing us. 4 offensive starters returned this season for them. Brody Wilson's one of them. He earned all conference, all region, and all district honors last year as a tight end. And he had 6 catches for 106 yards and tied for a team high. So looking good there on the offensive side. Defense is where they need to build, and really excited to see what they can do. Now we head into the West and we talk Carthage. Few football programs in the Southwest Missouri area have won consistently at Carthage, and in the last decade plus, in the last 10 seasons alone, the Tigers have won fewer than 9 games just once, while compiling an overall record of 99-23. And last fall's 9-2 campaign was more of the same. Carthage won 6 times by at least 3 touchdowns and rolled to an 8-1 regular season record, and then hosted a district championship game. That squad takes the field this fall. They fell to this team behind me in Webb City last year, and they got a lot to go on. Coach Guidey said that he's had a great summer with his team. You can see the progress, and everybody is making it week in and week out. He's excited for tonight as they get ready for their game. And over to Joplin, another year, another solid season for the Eagles. That was the story for 2024 for the Eagles. They played to a 7-4 record and lost in the district championship to Nixa. And we know that they ended up going on to the state championship. And those 4 losses were to 13-1 Nixa, twice to the Republic, who was 10-3, and then to a 9-2 Carthage team in overtime at that. So it was a year 10 at the helm for Coach Jasper, who put together 8 straight winning seasons and hasn't had a Joplin team finish under 500. Culture-wise, he says, he thinks the senior class has figured out that it's important to kind of leave something behind as a legacy of a culture, and that they want to keep the next groups to continue to do what they were doing. So he thinks that there's some carryover there, and that's going to help. And the district runner-up in the 3 of the last 4 seasons, Joplin will benefit from an especially large senior class in 2025. 31 seniors this year for Joplin. So that's something to watch out for. There's a lot of guys that we're going to be able to see, and a lot of guys that we're excited for and ready for that this year. Neosho, we'll move on to them. They posted the program's first winning season since 2018, going 6-5, including a 4-0 start to start up the season. It was the 4th season for head coach Brandon Towdy in his tenure. meaning the class of 2025 was the first group of seniors that Towdy had as a coach overall in that school. And here's what he had to say on that. We had a really good senior group of kids, and they were the first group that had many opportunities to get things done, and they showed up every day ready to work, and they love that challenge. There's no surprises for the kids or the coaching staff. Everybody is on the same page, and we all have the same goals and aspirations. It is a completely different program than a few years ago. And they returned 5 starters on offense and 4 offensive linemen, as well as the quarterback, or excuse me, and defensive linemen. Sorry, 3 defensive linemen. So you got 5 on defense, offense, and 3 on defense. Sorry, man, jumbling over that a little bit. Sorry, there's a little bit of a glare on this screen. But yeah, so he's ready for the quarterback to come in. Coach Towdy says that he is a dual threat quarterback who likes to throw it and run the ball. He has an extremely strong arm. He's accurate and capable of making big plays, if not bigger plays, with his feet as well. And they'll turn to Roan to replace graduated Denver Welch, who had 1,145 yards last year. As for Webb City, the first offensive workout on Webb City football coach Ryan McFarland, he's noticed a difference in focus from his team this year after a 6-7 record fall last year. Our record last year is not the standard for Webb City football program, and he knew that. And he's got some kids who want to make sure that they get it fixed, and they're not the class that maybe lets down the community and the alumni of the city in these consecutive years subpar football. And McFarland said that, and he thinks the biggest takeaway from last year is even when things weren't going well, they continued to show up and practice, and they participated, and they were engaged and just did things that coaches asked, and they played together as a team. And they were able to capitalize on that season at the end that they had, and they ended up making it in. This year, they look to senior Slade Hurd, who will be a 3-year starter after contributing during the team's playoff run in 2023. He tore his MCL at the beginning of last year in the fall. They're looking for him to have a huge year this year and be able to put the team on his shoulders, as well as some other seniors in Gus Carnes and a backup tight end as well, like junior Grayson Ganaway, and more traditional blocking tight end. We'll see the other side. And then senior Jace Cartwright will be the only senior starter on the offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to watch this year, and we'll see what goes on. As for Republic, we'll go talk about them. Republic football entered the 2024 season coming off a state runner-up finish with many new players stepping up after a deep senior class. The new players answered the bell and brought Republic a second straight district championship. And I mean, it's on that way to a 10-3 record overall. The Tigers fell to the eventual state runner-up in Halias Catholic 24-21 in the state quarterfinal round. I think the program is in a really good place, Republic head coach Ryan Cornelson said. I think the kids understand the expectations. I think the kids are on the field, or I think the kids are the field. I would like to say we are in a good place right now with these kids and the effort of the kids. So with all that being said, Republic's looking at a rebuild here and continuing to make that success off of last season and looking to hopefully make it and go where they need to go. They're going to focus on the run, and 3 of the 4 leading rushers from last season return. Isaiah Hole will move from the defensive line to fullback last season and found immediate success running for 892 yards. They're looking for him to capitalize on that, and they're going to continue to go that way. And lastly, we talk Willard. Willard football had youth overall on the field last year. Head coach Andy McFarland's first season, the Tigers finished 2-8 overall. This season, Willard bring back some more experienced roster with 16 total starters from week 10 returning. And we were really young last season and kind of had to go through some growing pains, McFarland said. The benefit of that, we have a lot of guys coming back with experience, and I think wins and losses for less than the offseason. You learn from both wins and losses, he said. So they're looking at that. Last season, Willard had 9 seniors. This season, that number jumped to 24. So they've got a lot of experience there. Look for a good run at the end of the season from them and be on their way for that. lots to look forward to this season. And now we get to the farm part. We'll give our predictions for this week's matchups, and we will start with the overall COC champs in Nixa. They'll take on Republic. You know, as much as I heard about Republic there, I really want to say that Nixa is going to win, but I would like to see Republic sneak by with that win early in the season as Nixa looks to rebuild a little bit. So I'm going to pull the upset and go Republic. Neosho will host Glendale. I like Neosho at home. I think Neosho looks better. I think Neosho will be better, and we'll see. Carthage, they'll host Waynesville tonight. I have Carthage here as they host Waynesville, so I like Carthage at home. I like Willard hosting Ozark. Joplin is going to host Kickapoo tonight. I really like Joplin at home in the first game of the season to play Kickapoo, a team that they're very familiar with. And then here for this match behind me, Webb City will host Lebanon tonight. And I'm going to say Webb City wins here at home. So we thank you all for tuning in and look forward to seeing you all next week. And yeah.